So how's everybody doing today? Jim Masters here reporting for duty in the host chair here in the New York area. This is the Jim Masters Show, Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series. Our set is all lit up. We're ready to go. We've got an extraordinary guest. My next guest here on our iconic series we call the Jim Masters Show is none other than author, advocate, life coach, the happiness warrior, Eric North, joining us from Washington, D.C. He's our special guest on this episode of the Jim Masters Show series, and we're very honored to have him here. He is ready to go. He is ready to share some joy and some happiness and tell us, I love this. Look at this. We're going to tell you what all of this means. He is ready to go to share some inspiration, some positive energy, some really cool vibes. He's all pumped up about life, as I am too. So he and I are simpatico in the way we kind of think about life and living and be positive. And, you know, life isn't perfect, but there's a lot of things that do come at you left and right, up and down. And sometimes it's all how you deal with it. Mindset, empathy, compassion, kindness, and living with joy and being happy in those moments, because life is fleeting, life is precious. We've mentioned that many times on our series with some of our extraordinary celebrity friends and guests that stop by the Jim Masters Show. So we are going to celebrate all of that and so much more with the happiness warrior. And we're so excited to have him here. Tell you a little bit about our special guest. Get ready, folks. You will be inspired. Eric North is a life coach, best-selling author who has dedicated his life to guiding his followers to find the ultimate solace and happiness. For his knowledge and wisdom, Eric is also, as I mentioned, called the happiness warrior by his disciples. He says all humans who have learned the secrets to living a fulfilling and happier life have one thing in common, and that provides more happiness and personal freedom. It's the ability to look forward to each day with gratitude and acceptance. Eric says all-knowing feeling and mindset that creates people's momentum and preserves their intention is so important. He further says that the aptitude and forbearance to forgive and forget the hurts and struggles of the past and look forward to each new day with joy and greater wisdom, very important as well. And he shares 5 empowering ways to make life worth living with practical advice and tips and so much more. And we're going to talk about that. Before we welcome him from our nation's capital here in the United States, from Washington, D.C. We've got a little video we want to show you to sort of get you in the vibe, get you in the mood for what we're going to be talking about and celebrating on a special episode of the Jim Masters Show. It's so good to have you here. Thanks for joining us all around the world, everybody. Take a look at this, and then we'll have our special guest, author, advocate, and life coach, the happiness warrior, Eric North, joining us from Washington, D.C. Roll it.
Hey, everyone. I'm Eric North, and I'm the happiness warrior. We're living in a world where unhappiness is increasingly normalized. Just take a look around and we're fighting with each other, we're angry, we're hurt, and we're afraid. This is not normal. To make things even more challenging, we're learning how to survive in a pandemic, and everything we know has been turned upside down. As the happiness warrior, I'm here to help explore happiness, increase happiness, and help us spread happiness wherever we go. Happiness is a choice, and happiness will help us lead the magical life that we deserve. What does happiness mean to you? I believe that happiness is our natural state of being, and happiness is our natural state of mind. A few years ago, I began to question whether there was more to life than constantly working and building businesses. I began a journey. I began a conscious journey to explore what comes next in life. Happiness is everything, and happiness will take us to the next level. Some of the most important things I've learned are that everyone has value and that making people feel good makes you happy. Most of us want to be happy, but haven't given ourselves permission to be happy. Happiness creates change, it builds self-esteem, and increases gratitude, which allows our lives to expand. 5 core happiness warrior values. Number 1, take care of your body as if your life depends on it. The happiness warrior core value number 2, consciously provide value in all actions. Happiness warrior core value number 3, practice self-awareness. Happiness warrior core value number 4, have a ready for anything mindset. Happiness warrior value number 5, seek clarity in all actions and remove self-created obstacles. Happiness is a choice, and it's the key to leading the magical life that we all deserve.
And here he is coming to us from our nation's capital. The one and only Eric North joins us here for the first time, and I'm sure not the last, on the Jim Masters Show. Eric, welcome to our show, my friend.
Thank you, Jim. I'm so happy to be here. And
I am very happy to have you here, and I'm glad that you're happy because we're talking about
yeah.
happiness and joyful living. I love this title of the Happiness Warrior. I was mentioning to you that just by happenstance, not scripted, when I launched this series, the Jim Masters Show Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series, about 4 years and 2 months ago at the time of this show today, it was during the height of the beginning stages of the pandemic. So when that was rolling, I just happened to say in the beginning that our series has a lot of light, love, and levity, humor, love, light, positivity. One time I was saying it too fast, ever the New Yorker, fast. So I said light levity, and that just spit right out of me, levity. And when I said that word, everybody, went wild. They called me Mr. Levity. This is Levity Hall. They're the Levity Squad. Folks like you, great guests, are part of the Levity family. And it's something that was an energy that just came right out, and we haven't looked back since. You are the Happiness Warrior. Tell us about how that title came about and how you actually spread this in such a beautiful way like you do, in such a positive way, my friend.
Well, it all kind of started when I became an entrepreneur and I started my own business. And that's when I had to really dig deep and have some courage in my life. And I knew what I wanted to do. And it was something that helps people live better and feel better. But it was something at the time that was kind of new and everyone was kind of, wow, what are you doing? Now it's a mainstream company. And the thing is, the fact that I started another company and another company, but the point where I became sort of, I'm a great boss, but I'm also a very, I move fast. I get a lot of things done. And I was feeling like life was moving too fast and I wasn't really being creative anymore. And I was just kind of CEO, kind of in charge of everything and not really very focused. And then COVID hit. And at the time also I was doing a third job. I became a model in New York City kind of later in life in my late 40s. And that was another thing where I really learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot of humility in that time too, because I had a lot of rejection, and I had, just like anyone goes through in New York City, you have to be the best of the best. Well, anyway, everyone always likes me. I always have a good time when I go anywhere. I walk into a new room, I expect everyone's going to be a friend. I always assume that I'm going to like everyone. So in New York, I have a Southern accent when it gets going. And I can be very polite. So in New York, I had sort of a good charm when I would come in places and come to modeling agencies or come in for an audition, and nothing really happened the way I really wanted it to. However, COVID hit, and just before COVID hit, my agent called, and I was kind of done. I was like, I'm just going to focus back on my business again. I'm not going to do this anymore. It's too much. And she said, I don't want you to do this. Listen to me. I want you to be on TV. I think you have what it takes to be on TV. You could be an announcer. You could be a host on a TV show. But I want us to start. And then, but I went to New York, had a meeting. It was exciting. And then COVID hit. So COVID hit, and then everything sort of changed, and everybody sort of in that part of my world sort of disappeared. New York sort of shut down, as you know. It was kind of empty. That summer, it was a ghost town. Everyone was gone. She moved to Maui, and she called me and she said, "Hey, I want you to continue this. This is really important. Call this publicist. He's really good. He discovered Matthew Perry and Jennifer Aniston. He's amazing." And I thought, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I waited about a week or two to kind of ponder if this was the right path. And then one day, it was a really beautiful day, and I called this guy, and we were talking, my agent, Tom Esty in New York, and he said, about 5 minutes into our call, he said, we were getting along really well. And he said, "You're the happiness warrior." And he said it, and he shouted it, and he said, "I'm getting chills right now. This is who you're going to be. You're going to be the happiness warrior. We're going to create everything for you to spread the word of happiness and then start writing," which was a big thing for me too, because I'd always wanted to write, but I didn't really know how to start. So this publicist of mine, Tom, he really sort of incubated the whole idea, and I took it fully. When I made that video that we just saw, I thought to myself, I'm going to be self-conscious about this, because that's really the first time I was actually in the happiness warrior zone fully. I was with a really good friend that I trusted who shot the video. And
And
it
do you
just really has become part of my life. It's just who I am now.
I was
So,
gonna
and
say,
I,
what even before that title came, did you always feel like
oh,
you were the
oh,
happiness warrior in so many aspects of life and
I,
living?
I have the Virgo in me. I really, it really pains me to see someone struggling or hungry or need or sad or hurt. And I think about not just going to jump in and be the hero, but sometimes I can do something. I can write something that
Mm.
can really help a lot of people, because I've written hundreds of columns that have been published on the web now, and there's so much writing. And the thing is, I never run out of things to write about, because every week I see things that people need to see, that they can live their lives a little better and happier and more self-confident and more fulfilled. And that's what it's all about, is helping other people, others all around us in the whole world, as far as I'm concerned, to connect better, to feel happier, to be okay to smile together, to be okay to laugh together. That's how we connect. And I look at this, where are we going in this world? Are we going to go down, or are we going to go up? And I think that's where we are right now. We have a choice. We have the choice to go down further and be sadder and have less happiness. Or we have this beautiful, we have technology, we have brains, we have everything, we have all these things happening, and we're kind of screwing it up. I think we're kind of taking the opportunity that we have, which is so amazing, and it's being held back.
Is some of
So,
it happening, you think, because of fear, or is
fear.
it greed, or is it
Or, or-
all these things that have happened have ramped up life, and then you add in uh, the advancements of technology, the
right.
instantaneous nature of
AI.
24/7 AI, social media, which is a whole other
Mm-hmm,
Pandora's box, and
mm-hmm.
all of these things, this 24/7, and then you throw in some of these natural disasters, the
Right,
pandemic, all
right.
these, the war, all these things that are happening all at the same time. With some people, it could feel like everything they knew and loved has changed, ended, and gone away. And I better grab everything I can now, even if I'm taking it out of somebody else's hand,
Right.
because it may go away, which doesn't, of course, provide happiness, instant
It doesn't.
gratification, but not happiness.
It's the opposite of happiness. It is gratification is the opposite of happiness. To serve and to feel joy in helping others. That's where happiness. That's the root of happiness, and that's to share. That is also how we increase our endorphins and feel happier. So that's the opposite of happiness. And I think the word the Pandora's box is such a. I haven't thought of that. When I was younger, I used to read a lot of the mythology. And when you just brought Pandora's box up, that's kind of like Pandora's box has been opened literally, and that's what it feels like some days. And we don't know what's going to come out as next. There's going to be something, and
So, what are
that's
some tips and things you do to deal with it when you get overwhelmed by life and things happening around you?
well, I've matured over the years, and I have a very warrior-like mindset at times too. I'm not afraid to fight for anything, for myself or for cause I believe in. And I've had in my life, I've always been sort of bold as far as my words and actions, and now I've learned to really, really, really. Words have spirit. I believe that words never disappear, and when our words are affirming and they're happy and they lift us up. That's the kind of words that have impact. And the other words have the negativity, the hate and things like that. That impact it starts building, and it's collateral, and all of a sudden everybody wants to complain about the same thing together. Oh, I'm complaining about this, and it creates a lot of discord. And I think that's why we're at where we are now, and then the greed as well. And I think that's really what it comes. I think religion and oil. I've always said religion and oil will kill us one day, and oil is synonymous to me with greed and corruption, and you have all these clashing of things that don't really matter anymore to us so much. And it's time to change.
So, I know there are steps. We showed some of that in the video teaser there. Tell us about these steps that you have designed, which can actually guide us whether times are really good or times are not so good. Steps that we can call upon on a day to day basis that can be very, very helpful, motivational, inspiring to get us to really appreciate life in a deeper way than just the day-to-day drudgery of doing what we've got to do?
Well, the first step is to just take it a moment, and that's one of my core values that was in the video is practice self-awareness. Always practice self-awareness, because we don't know what. First of all, we never know what anyone else is thinking or feeling at all. We don't ever truly know what's in someone else's head, but in our own heads and our own consciousness, that's where our power comes from. That's where we build something great, and it's just things that we have to really think about in this world is starting with core values. And that's really, that was that's in that video as well. And I decided that it was really important as the happiness warrior to define my core values and make sure that I live those every day. So when I say take care of your body as if your life depends on it, I mean that. I mean that I have a lot. I'm 59. I have a lot of things. I have a ton of accomplishments I have still in the future as a happiness warrior. I have another 40 years of good work, good fulfilling work. But I need to take care of my body as well as my mind. And there's a mind-body connection. There's a mind-gut connection. All the things that we eat and do and exercise are all very important parts of my businesses, as well as being the happiness warrior, because part of it is not letting people down, is keeping myself in really good shapes. And it's not hard. I don't do anything that's really crazy or anything I don't do any fasting or anything like that. But I eat well. It says one of my future books is going to be the happiness warriors handbook to the body, which is going to be, and to think about food in a different way. I think we talk about dieting and food, and it's so much conversation about it. But a lot of times it's just people just need to just take all the pressure off and just think about what's important.
Breathe from the diaphragm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think about what's important to you. And I do a lot of deep breathing. Deep breathing gets me through a lot of things during the day.
You meditate?
I don't know what meditation. I've never really been able to figure out what it means to meditate. What I do instead, okay, and I have quiet times, and I've got rid of my headphones when I ride my bike or go for walks. I try to stay really in the moment, and that's very important to me. But a lot of times that's what I do is I write. So I just write to kind of deal with everything, and that's really how I get through it.
It's sort of cathartic and therapeutic. Eric, it sounds like you've gone through a lot of different experiences in your life, and there's been a transformation, an epiphany, a deeper understanding of who Eric is and some of the contributions that you have to offer to us, and that there's been an awakening of sorts. That happened to me when I drove alone 4 years ago or so in Death Valley after a television shoot I was on, and I had a rental car and nobody knew I was doing it, and I didn't even know I was doing it. Mm-hmm. And I just challenged myself to do that, and I just went through all these different experiences doing it in the dead of August in Nevada and California, in a rental car alone in Death Valley, something I wouldn't have normally have thought about doing, something I couldn't script. But I went in and did it, and just felt massive energies of a divine, of Mother Nature, and of the power of the raw earth sort of guiding me to trust in myself to get through. And whatever I was going to visualize and whatever I was going to experience was going to be life-changing. And in many ways, not just the challenge of driving through Death Valley, but there were a lot of things that I sort of filtered through alone in Death Valley. It couldn't have been my go-to. Is we're here on the coast, grew up by the ocean. The ocean for me provides happiness, joy, beauty. I swim, surf, boogie board, sail, walk, float, all of that. So it couldn't have been the ocean, couldn't have been a big city, couldn't have been a botanical garden, couldn't have been nature, couldn't have been any of that. Nature as far as like a forest that's lush. It had to be stripped, hot, raw earth like Death Valley. And it was extraordinary. And that was maybe 4.5 years ago. And I'm still sort of riding on the juices of that. For you, it sounds like there has been some transformative moments that have happened in your life as time has gone on that you have paid heed to and that you are expressing now, which is a fantastic thing, Eric.
It is fantastic. I'm happy every day, and not many people can say they're happy every day. And I have a lot of challenges. I have business obstacles and things that happen every day. Something could happen. I could get something, an email that could kind of dash my next hour. But it's just I deal with it. I move on. I just like I always think I can handle anything. There's a solution to every problem, and whatever life hands me, I'm going to be able to handle. And it's kind of like when you were out in the desert. I've done some of those travels too, where I've been. Yes, I did some things during COVID, and when I was out in the mountains in Sedona, Arizona, and it was about 3 months. It's August of 2020, and it wasn't really a very masked environment out in Arizona. Everyone was very healthy and hiking and running around, and it was like it was kind of cool in some ways, masked indoors in restaurants and things. But otherwise, it was very when we were out in the parks, no one had any fear, and that was really wonderful. And I was with a friend, and we were just hiking every day. One day we came upon a big circle of people, and they had Native Americans, and they were chanting, and they were doing drums, and there was just sort of a COVID prayer circle. Who knows what it was? But we joined in. Everyone was very friendly. And at first, I was kind of, this is kind of, I'm not really getting it. I don't think it was weird, but I just wasn't really feeling it. And then I was looking at this mountain, this one of those great rocks in Sedona. They're millions of years old. They're just covered with craters and all kinds of faces on the mountain. I'm staring at it, and then someone started to sing, and the drums were going, and I started crying a little bit. It was really weird. It was a beautiful morning. It was like 80. It was sun. It was 8 o'clock in the morning. Sky was bright blue, and I had been that trip was actually me searching for the Happiness Warrior, which was coming in a couple of months. It was kind of like a preview. And during that trip, though, I was looking for answers to questions. I love adventures, and I always think on my adventures I'm going to find the answers to anything. And I was looking up at the mountain, and it kind of had a little thing that looked like a door that was on the face of the mountain, way up, a couple thousand feet up. And all of a sudden, I heard everything you need to know lies within. I heard this voice. I don't know if it was male or female, but it was a very authoritative voice in my head that said, "Everything I need to know, I already know." And that was very. I remember ending the prayer circle, and I was just kind of stunned on the way back to the car. And that was one of those life changing moments for me too. So it was kind of maybe it's the sun in the West Coast. I don't know.
I think, especially for us East Coasters, right?
Mhm.
We've got the ocean, we've got the big cities, we've got lushness, and to get into that stripped, warm, sort of risky desert atmosphere,
Yeah.
dry, and it's real earth, and it's just, and there's an aloneness too that
Mhm.
you don't have all of the trappings of the craziness of life that I
Right.
think pulls it out of us, which I think is a fantastic thing. So we're talking about these 5 things that you have created that are part of this entire
Mhm.
project and way of being. How do you define happiness? Like sometimes I've heard people say, well, happiness can be fleeting. Happiness is when you have a slice of your birthday cake, you're happy, but then that can disappear as soon as the happiness of the cake is gone, and you want to include joy because joy is long lasting and it's really deep, and you want to live a joyful life as well as happy. How do you incorporate that all into what you do and what your message is, and how do you define happiness? It is different for everybody, but how do you define it?
Happiness is first of all, happiness is a mindset. It's a mindset that is more than just like you say, a birthday cake comes out and I'm happy, but that's a joy of that's a very fleeting thing. Happiness is a mindset. So I kind of live. I live every day, and I start every. I don't meditate, but I do. I do a morning affirmation, which is very quick and easy. And this is one it's so simple. Like a child can do it at any age. And I've done it to so many people. I've turned so many people onto this, and big high level people too. And you would think I'm just silly, but they say I do this every morning. All I say is as soon as I wake up, I've been doing this for years. I've been doing this since I started really transforming my life. Good morning, Eric. It's going to be a great day. And I'll say it that loud every morning, most of the time, unless I'm kind of really tired. But I'll be like, good morning, Eric. It's very enthusiastic. Good morning, Eric. It's going to be a great day. That starts that every day. That means every day is going to be awesome to me. And no matter what happens, it's going to be a great day. And then when I go to bed at night, I live my life, I try to be good and kind. And at the end of the day, and take care of things. I'm very responsible for a lot of people and their lives and my businesses and my employees. And I know I need to always kind of uphold myself to a standard that feels good. So it's just, and then at night when I go to bed, I learned this from my sister, and there's how to sleep soundly. I'd had some abusive relationships and things earlier in my life, which I've dealt with and processed, and they're gone. But years ago, when I started doing this, it's just to tell myself that I did my best today, and I think this is a common thing people do. I did my best today, and I'll do better tomorrow. And that's my meditation, and then I'll just think about how grateful I am and go to bed. Okay, but I did it every night because it kind of gives me a little accountability too, because it makes me think, did I really do my best today, or am I just telling myself those words? And I really want to feel, I want those words to mean something every night. Okay, if they don't mean something, then I've lost touch. I've lost focus with what's important to me, which I'm not going to do.
Right. You say that
I'm kind of
it's the
intense.
ability really to look forward to each day with gratitude
Every day.
and acceptance. Sometimes acceptance is one that people struggle with, just like
Mhm.
forgiveness, whether it's forgiving others who trespass against us or it's forgiving ourselves. Tell us about the importance of gratitude, acceptance, and forgiveness. All important.
All three go together. You can't have one without the other. I think gratitude is always a time when we're forgiving others and being grateful for what we have and what we're able to share with others. I always get back to sharing with others. I think it's important that we're not just happy ourselves, but that we're actually able to be a beacon of happiness to other people. And I think happy people are always happy to help other people. And I think a lot of the problems in this world is people think they don't belong places and they don't show up, and they're afraid that they're going to be rejected, and they're afraid someone's going to say something mean, which I don't understand, because that's just a fear that's not going to happen. And then they end up giving up so much of their lives and getting angry and getting disconnected because they don't want to give themselves permission to be somewhere or be happy. So one of my things is, I'm very big on inclusion. I think everyone deserves all the good things that this country has to offer, and there's no exceptions to it. Everyone deserves the best that we have, and that's one of the things I think is really important. And that's the foundation of my life, is that I'm very strong on equality and respect for others and perspective. So
How do you learn to forgive others and forgive yourself? That's a toughie for
well.
many.
Without forgiveness, if you have some hurts, most people are hurt. Most anger comes from hurt, and comes from hurt or perceptions that we have. There's something that didn't really happen, even sometimes too. A lot of our minds play tricks on us sometimes, and we're sort of find ourselves angry for years about something that never really happened. It doesn't even matter anymore. And it's all about perspective. It's all perspective, and just in learning to, in the perspective of saying, hey, that person was trying their best. Yes, they hurt me. Yes, they did something. It was maybe there were circumstances. Just let it go. Let it go. And when you let things go, you're going to be happier. We're going to feel better about ourselves. We're going to be going along. We're going to see that person that hurt us or something, and they're going to look at us. He looks amazing. Jim looks amazing. He's such a nice person. And they can think, I was really a jerk, but now I can make amends. That can be that kind of thing too. So
That's really important, right? And again, it's something that can be very
and
liberating, right? And healthy for you when you do that.
when
Forgiveness.
when we hate someone, we give that hate power. Okay, so hate is a word I don't like. I don't like when someone says they have haters. That's very childish. I think that hate is an ugly, ugly word that I don't use. And I don't use the word should either. I don't think I should do anything. I am doing something. So two important things. So
Exactly right. And you say to go from passive in people's own lives, the first piece of this puzzle, and to treat every day as the first day of a new life. And if folks take action, no matter how small in their own lives, big things will follow. You've
yeah,
experienced that as well, right?
just stepping into a new role, like I did as the happiness warrior, was really it was going out on the line for me in a lot of ways, because I still had my businesses and I had that identity, but I was suddenly shifting into a new identity there where my actions really mattered, and my values really matter, and my integrity, all these things that you take with you. What do you take with you when you die? You take nothing except for your integrity and your values. I think that's important. So I think, what do I want to be? I want to be known for or left, like when I leave this earth at some point. I don't really want to be known for anything, but I'd like to have my words kind of carry on and kind of and continue to help others. So,
Sometimes they say that we're in a victim mentality these
right.
days, and some people are always blaming others for the plight they're in. Now, there are times when there are things that others do that can sort of lead us into various situations that we had nothing to do with it, but generally there are ways that we can work through it. And how do you get out of that? It's because of
Accepting
them.
response.
It's because of that person, that utility company, that this, that, all these things that you can put blame on. How do you work through that?
I generally don't engage at all. I just generally just think this is a waste of time. I'm going to either come back and present something later. I usually just I kind of get a feeling about, if I see a lot of, I'm very anti-victim. I don't think I'm not anti-victim. I'm very anti using the word victim. Becoming a victim is never going to make us better. It's never going to make us feel better. It's never going to make us happier. It's a paradigm that just kind of keeps just it's draining. It's stressful, and it's not necessary. Things happen to us. People, like you said, people do cause things sometimes to happen, but we all have our share of the role. We all have actions that our actions and choices are all part of the equation.
And oftentimes we need to step out of our comfort zone, don't we?
Oh,
We can't.
often.
Yeah.
Always. And one of my big things that I have a few like platitudes that I use, but show up. Show up. I think I said that's another thing. If you want permission to be somewhere, then give yourself permission to be there. Show up. And we start showing up. It's small steps. Just go observe, go watch. Come next time, grab a coffee in a meeting or something, but just eventually join in, and you'll find that people want you to join in, and just a little smile and a hello can do wonders. So that's it. That's how you do it.
So, what can people do right now if we have folks watching this
Mhm.
show, the Jim Masters show, and they are stuck, they're frustrated, they're fearful, they're confused, they don't know what's going on. Maybe they have a lot of anger built up. They don't know how to express it or how to not express it in a way that is harmful or negative to themselves, to others. They're just in a stuck, dark place. And there are a lot of people right now who are struggling and suffering and, and who are hurting, and they need healing. They need positive reinforcement. They need to find that trail back to happiness and peace and contentment
Okay.
in their lives. What would be something they could do right now?
Well, the easiest thing to do, and this isn't really just it's not the solution, but it's a very temporary solution. Close your eyes and think of three things that make you happy. Everybody has three things. It could be a place, it could be a book, it could be a person, it could be your niece, whatever it is. It could be your dog. Those three things that can change your mindset right away. The next thing is to think about where all this anger and fear comes from, and actually to either write it down and always state it aloud. So if I'm afraid of parking garages, and I don't really like parking garages that much, so that's one thing I'm not afraid of, but it's something I think about when I'm there. I need to tell myself, hey, I need to say it out loud. I'm no longer afraid of parking garages. Okay, something like that. Okay, so you want to be able to say it out loud. I'm afraid of anything. You could, and you can, and then once you say that fear aloud, it takes a lot of the power of the fear away. As soon as you start taking the power away, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's really a big thing to do, is to practice self-awareness and think really clearly about what we're really afraid of, and then think about how illogical it is too, and how it's never going to happen. And most of our fears, as you know, Jim, never happen, right? So
True, very much. Sometimes we build them
usually
up or
life,
create them ourselves, right?
right? I like
Yeah.
serendipity. So serendipity is like one of my favorite words, and it's when things are better than you ever imagined. I think that when things turn out better, And often, if we have if our mindset is focused on happiness, it's focused on self-confidence, it's focused on showing up, then we're going to be able to walk through the world and be a lot more peaceful when things happen. We're going to be able to take this problem next time, I'm going to be smarter and do it even better. That kind of thing. You take it as a step, take it as wisdom as well.
How do you handle anger when you're frustrated, ticked off by something? Somebody cuts you off on the highway, or just somebody's rude to you, or does something you don't like to you or somebody that you care about. How do you work through your anger, or do you allow the anger to be expressed and not be built up? It's all about this balanced life.
I don't think anyone should really I don't think anyone has permission to yell at another human. I think when I see people yelling at each other, or someone starting with a really rude voice, I think that person really needs kind of an awakening of what their behavior causes, and it doesn't solve anything. It never really solves anything. It makes people distrustful of you. It makes you unhappier. It creates division. So it's very important to just get out in life and just let things go and walk through life, walk through the fire and get to the other side and realize that there's a really great life ahead of you.
That's really true. So
Yeah.
the happiness warriors we're talking about, it's the disciples, it's other folks who said, this is what you represent. Tell us about the overall mission, what your goal is, what you hope people get from your expression of being the happiness warrior, and things that you're offering along the way.
The power of my words. I found over my lifetime that I've been able to reach people who needed to hear something, and hear something to make a good positive change in their life. And then throughout so many relationships, people will say to me, "Do you remember when you told me that 15 years ago, and it changed my life?" And I'm like, "No, what did I tell you?" But something they'll tell me something that I said that was pivotal in changing the direction, and creating more happiness in their lives and more fulfillment. And that's really what it really is for me. So when I'm helping someone, I'm not helping them. I'm giving them the opportunity to fix things themselves. And I don't like to use the word fix either, but I'm getting an opportunity to adjust things and make them better. And that's really important. I believe that I don't want to be anyone's hero. I'd rather have them become their own heroes. Everyone become their own hero. Everyone become their own happiness warrior, so that I'm not alone. I have everybody around me who's in the same cause, and we're going in the same
Takes a
direction.
village.
It takes a
Right.
village. We're creating networks. We're creating teams. I'm a big team creator. When I go somewhere on a business trip, I create teams all around me with people in my hotel and everything else, and my workers. And I think everyone, you want to live a life that people look forward to seeing you again, right? You want to say, "Wow, Jim's back in the room. I'm so happy right now. It's so good to see you." But a lot of people don't have that in their lives, and I think it's important that we all have the opportunity, that we know that we all have the opportunity to have that in our lives if our mindset and our attitude is set on the right track.
A lot of people say law of attraction as well, and they talk about things that are energy driven, meaning that you sort of get like a boomerang back in your direction, the energy that you put out. Or so you're
Yeah.
putting out nothing but negative, that will boomerang and you'll attract that. And if you're putting out positive, same thing. Chances are more positive will enter your life. Do you feel that way as well?
Always, always. That's always I remember back when I had a corporate life. You're always around your coworkers, and I found that just sort of letting go of the ones who were just complaining in the corner, and being around the people that were like making things happen.
Negative Nellies.
Yeah, and the ones that made things happen, they made my life happen too, and it was just it was a synergy. And that's kind of how I am now too. I want to leave an impact where I don't need to do any more work. The person's already, the individual's already on their way. They're already on their way to a whole great new life. They're excited. They're happy. They're finding magic in their lives, which is a big word to use, because magic is it's something that we're almost afraid to use in our own lives, like that word. And everyone can have you had a magical experience in Death Valley, and I'm sure a lot of other places too, during surfing in the early morning, and in the quiet. Those are very spiritual moments that are special, and they make life richer. So
I would agree. Yeah. And when you pay heed to those and you have these moments where it's you in touch with self, it can be very,
Hmm.
very special. And you take that energy and you share it pretty much with other people effortlessly. It just sort of flows out of you, which is a great place to be. Tell us about some of the things that you offer and how you go about it, meaning you're a best-selling author as well. Do you do seminars, workshops? Are you working individually with people? Are you working with groups, teams? Tell us how that's all working for you.
I am big on speaking engagements for conferences and and even smaller settings, maybe group training sessions, things like that. I don't really have a methodology other than I have a plan. I have a plan. Usually it's based on my writing. I take something that I've written that I think had a big impact on people, and I'll use that sort of as the first example, and that'd be like maybe the first like sort of thing that we go over. And then I also just writing gives me a lot of satisfaction. So the more books I can, I have a list of like 20 different book titles I'm ready to start writing. And then TV is really where my heart is, because I want to be able to reach people through the media more, but I want to do it on TV. I want to do it with my own TV show someday. And I want to have, I want to have more power to be my own producer and make shows that I want to create, and sort of my own vision, which is not, I've never been able to think like other people my entire life. I've always been kind of separated. Even since I was a little kid in school, I was always kind of separated because I was always really eager to learn. I was on I was on a different level than most of the other kids. And I was sort of all the way through high school, I felt that way. Now
Did you
as an
feel like you
adult,
had an old soul?
I don't think an old soul. I just had this memory of, I could just process information. I was hungry for travel and literature and art and just learning about things and how they all connect, and everything's connected. So how does
It
art
is.
and music and literature and travel and people and history, how does it all connect? So that's really cool to me.
It's so very, very true. We are all connected. And I think when people realize that, it'll bring them together, because we are in a time right now where everybody's sort of going off into their own directions, no matter
Good.
what that is. And it is good to have the understanding that we are all pieces of the puzzle, and each piece is as valuable as the next piece, and it's important, and sort of bringing that together. Do you ever feel like you are paddling your canoe in the river against the current?
Honestly, no. I feel like there's nothing stopping me except myself. And the more I go against the current, the more I guess that's not the right analogy, but the more I'm going to attract along the more we're going to come along my
More of a
journey with me.
challenge, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's because I'm going to be able to pull more people into my orbit, and more people are going to come along on that river. So I'd rather go through on the river kind of analogy, where the river gets broader and broader as more people join it,
How
more
do you
humans
feel
join.
what you do, as a life coach as well, as being an author and an advocate? How do you feel what you do is different than others out there that may do something similar? Some of the things that make you stand out.
We're all, I think anyone who's in that field has very similar goals. My goal, though, is not to always just give a lot of account. It's not to be focused on some of the things, that the words and things that they use, like accountability and all this. My goal is to help build a happier unit entirely, body, mind, everything, so that when we're going through life, and that it becomes more of an adventure. It becomes exciting, and everything can be exciting if we make it exciting. I'm very intense and serious on this podcast, but when you're with me in real life, it's always fun being with me. If I'm just going to the grocery store, we're going to have fun somehow. I always make it so that everything I do is just going to be pleasant and happy and an open experience. I like everyone.
What are some things you like to do that keep you grounded? Are you involved in sports, music, gardening, cooking, nature? What are some things that you like to do?
I'm
Obviously, you like to do physical fitness, which is very, very important to keep the blood flowing and challenge yourself, which is a great thing.
I have so many things that I enjoy doing, but it sort of starts in my own world that I've built in my home. I have three pit bulls. They're all rescues. They take up a lot. They have a lot of my attention during the day, and they're always around. I'm kind of their presence is a very big part of my life. So I take care of them. And then I live near a really amazing national park right here called Rock Creek Park in DC. So I can ride my bike there in about 5 minutes, disappear into the woods for half an hour, ride some hills and be by myself in nature, just a few minutes from my home. That's an amazing thing for me too. Then I go to the gym about 3 times a week. And then I have two 30 or 40 minute walks with one of my pit bulls every day, and those 30, 40 minute walks, I think, are really, really important because we go into the woods, we walk around the neighborhood, we visit people. And that's what most of my days are like. It's mostly starts with writing. I'm always thinking about what I'm eating. My food is very important to me. So everything I eat really has to have a value for what I need that moment. But I need food to help me think. Do I need food for long-term energy, for biking, whatever? So I plan my meals accordingly to to my lifestyle basically. And and then I have a garden out front. My house is sort of like a nature sanctuary. I had an uncle of mine who was very influential in my life. He was kind of earth. He was a Mother Earth warrior. So I've taken a lot of his lessons to heart, and just kind of a happy, active life every day.
Have you done a TED Talk yet, or is that something that you hope to do?
I have that would be something I'd really like to do. So yeah.
Yeah, those are quite amazing. You reach a lot of
Hmm.
people in that vein as well. How
I,
often are you writing? Are you a
I,
prolific writer? When you have a thought, are you grabbing pen and paper or going to
I
the computer and
am.
always writing?
I have a writing time every morning. I can write at any time, but I always make sure that I get up early and I start my day early. But by around 8 in the morning, I usually take an hour off for writing every single day, and that's what I do. And writing is editing. There's a lot of editing when I write. When I write, I tend to write words come to me very, very quickly. So I kind of write, like the time I'm done, I'm like, So I might cook something up for a long time. I'm like a chef at the end where I'm sweating and panting. I've written something that I'm really happy about, and then I have to come back and edit it the next day. So writing to me is a very passionate endeavor because I'm thinking about things I really want to connect. I really want to create a connection with, and then I've found that writing has really changed my life, and that's thanks to my publicist, Tom. So something that became very natural to me. And at first, I was very self-conscious about it. And now, when I write, I do all my own editing, and I feel like I'm writing something that is valuable to others, and that's what matters to me.
Which
Has
is
value.
really important, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's what is your plan for the future? What would you like to do with all of this as the happiness warrior and as Eric North, who has a story to tell and a mission to accomplish?
Well, I think I have a genetic predisposition to helping others. That's just something that I do. What I really want to be, who I am now, is a motivational figure, and that is important to me. So I want to be mostly create a career where it's all based on my words, all based on my spoken word or my written word, and just going to be known for that, and to be also the happiness warrior at sort of a national level where, hey, we're all feeling really bad. Let's bring the happiness warrior in and get things, make some change, make things happy,
Who
bring
are
some
some
happiness in.
Absolutely right, and joy and peace and contentment? Who are some folks that inspire you? Are there others out there like the Tony Robbins, the Deepak Chopras, or others
I
that
tend not.
inspire you?
I tend not to really pay attention to any of those people. Okay, but I look into my own world for inspiration. I was talking to my mother yesterday, and she was in the store, and I was talking to her, and she is a very happy person. And everybody really loves to be around her. So she ran to a friend in the store, and I just listening to her voice, and it was so kind and happy and genuine for this friend I didn't know who the person was, but she was so lovely with that other human being. And I thought that's where I get it from. I also had three aunts on my father's side, and they were all really instrumental in my life, and all of them were people that did good, that do good, that did good in their lives. And my Aunt Nancy in particular, she was just like me in a lot of ways, because we go out in public and everybody wants to stop and talk to us and tell us things that are going on in their lives. And that's how she was too. She was always the happiness warrior in my life. And she passed away a couple of years ago, and I always remember her as my happiness warrior. Probably my start is in my own happiness as well.
Absolutely right. You got to start within. What are some things you're excited about that are coming up that you might want to share?
I'm in negotiations with a major publisher right now for a book that I think is going to be very important. It's going to be daily happiness affirmations, and it's going to have a daily read for every day. And what I want this book to, what I envision this book as, is a book that's on every family's reference shelf. It's next to the Bible. It's next to the dictionary. It's a book you can pick up. I'm feeling like I need some inspiration today. I'm feeling I'm not motivated. I'm feeling sad because I lost someone that I love. There can be so many different things you can look up in the book and say, this is the answer. Go to page 53 and read this chapter. And this is what I want. So you can just tell your kids, hey, you need some help? Go pick up the Happiness Warrior and find a chapter that helps.
Very, very cool. And something else, Eric, that's very, very cool is this, and this is the Happiness Warrior. Boom, there he is.
Let me show you. This is my Happiness Warrior shield.
I love it. Show it.
This is a real oak shield from England, which was like you would use in the old days. And I had a friend of mine who's an artist named Robin Seliff here in DC. She's a fabulous artist. And she took the shield, it was all oak, and she painted. So here's the world in the center. Here's sort of my colors in the background too. So I'm really proud of that. I think it's really cool. It's very heavy. You had to be very strong to use a shield in the old days. So,
to be able to write exactly, and it coincides with this here. That's it.
I like everything to make sense, and I want to be authentic, and that's the thing. I'm authentic. I'm probably. You could probably use the word earnest with me, and I used to think that was kind of an embarrassing word, but I'm very earnest about what I'm doing, and it matters to me. And love it or hate it. That's who I am. I'm not gonna. And nothing's gonna stop that. So.
No. So, what are some of those blessings and joys in your life that keep you motivated and keep you seeking and curious and happy and inspired to where you can share that with others? What are some of those things that exist in your life that you call upon for that to keep you moving?
Well, when I connect with others through my writing or through my videos that I do every day, and I hear people telling me, oh, I want, and my videos are 15 seconds. They're very short. And they tell me, oh, every day I watch your videos because they make me feel like I have some hope in my life, and they make me feel like happiness is something that's important. And when I hear that over and over and over again, I think there's nothing you can do. There's nothing maybe people are going to make fun of me, or they're going to be sort of, they think they're very witty. They might make fun of the Happiness Warrior. Who cares? I could care less. I don't need anyone else to make me happy. I'm happy already. But now I want to spread that happiness to others, and I want to empower others to be who they want to be, really. You know what I mean? Who do you want to be? And I think you found your way, Jim, because you're happy every day with what you do, and you do so much. But it's joyful work, and that's how I feel too. I work every day, but it's a labor of joy and love. So.
Exactly right. Exactly. Happiness. And as we say around here, levity, which is the key to a lot of incredible things, right? It just, I tell you, this is really exciting. What would be one little nugget maybe you can leave our faithful viewers about your work, or just something like a thought for the day, something positive? Because we need as much positive in this world as we can muster. So what would the Happiness Warrior share with the Jim Masters Show Levity audience right now?
Something that my agent, Mike Lyons in New York City, my first model agent, told me in the first weekend. One of the first weekends I was in town as a model and a signed model, and it was kind of a big deal. And he said, I want you to go out in the streets today and be the approachable alpha. So everyone you meet, you're going to smile and greet them, and they're going to say hello to you. You're going to say, this is in New York City. And he said, you have the whole weekend. I'll talk to you on Monday. But I want you to go out there. All my guys or all my models are all they're all sort of shy, and they're very big and hulking and full of muscles, but they lack the personality, and you have the personality. And I want you to break through and use it every day. And so I used it that weekend. It was I remember it was beautiful weather. So it was one of those great days, one of those great weekends in New York, like in April or May. And I just went with it, and I just let it all go. And I get a lot of attention on the street generally anyway. People want to talk to me. And that was a big turning point for me too. It's just being the happy, affable fitness model at the time. And
That's
being
it.
accessible, being approachable. I think that's really important too. I think when you're inapproachable, that's a barrier. That's a
Turns
barrier.
people off,
It
scares them
does. It makes
away,
you think you're snobby or
and they
snooty
won't
or
approach you. Right.
yeah.
Ex-
So
ex-
smile.
Smile. Exactly right. Here's the website, folks. TH for the happiness warrior.com. You can learn all about the cool things, the blog, and everything else that he's doing, and videos and more. Eric, this was fantastic. I can't believe that an hour flew by in a New York minute for sure.
For
And
sure.
yeah, I wish you continued happiness and joy in your world, and come back and see us and keep us posted on cool things that you're working on and other things that you have happening. And as I say to all of our guests from around the world, we'll keep the porch light on for you. And I hope that you enjoyed the time with me and us as much as I certainly have with you, the Happiness Warrior.
Thank you, Jim. That was awesome today. Great.
I hope it met whatever expectations you had, if you had any at all.
I had none at all, other than the fact that I knew I was going to really enjoy talking with you, and I did. So
I appreciate that. You be well. Keep sending out those positive vibes, the Happiness Warrior, Eric North. And this was a great, great conversation, uplifting, inspiring, connecting as well. And a message I think a lot of people need to hear, and we need to remind ourselves too, Jim and Eric. You be well, my friend, and thanks for stopping by and spending this amount of time with us on the Jim Master Show. Really appreciate it.
thank you, Jim. I'm so grateful. It was an awesome time, and talk to you soon, I hope.
Absolutely. There's that website again, folks. Check that out. Write that down. Make connection. Eric North, thank you very much as well. We'll see you again soon. Okay, my friend?
All right, man. Talk to you later. Okay.
All right. Cheers.
All right.
The Happiness Warrior stopping by the Jim Masters Show. How cool was that? You may never have heard of a Happiness Warrior before. And, like a warrior. And that's what he is. And there he is there. Isn't that cool? We sort of dug that out to put it up there for you. The Happiness Warrior. That shield that he has was so cool. And that story behind that shield. He's gone through transformation in his life as well, and he realizes what life is about, and he wants to share his message. Coincides nicely with some of the message that we have here on our entertainment lifestyle celebrity talk show series, the Jim Masters Show, where we bring on all kinds of guests, some well-known celebrities, folks who are doing cool things, other folks who are not maybe as known, but are becoming known, or just people who have a great message in all walks of life, whether it be coming from television or music, Broadway, film, stage, culinary arts, sports, inspiration, all of it, comedy. That's what it's all about here. So live life. We always say, take care of one another, be good to one another, and be sure and take care of yourself. Love yourself as well. Thanks to Eric North, author, advocate, life coach, the Happiness Warrior, joining us today from our nation's capital here in America, Washington, D.C., with some positivity and inspiration. Hopefully you found it uplifting, and you will find some happiness and joy in your life. Of course, we know it's not always easy, but give it a shot. It's always worth giving it a shot, as opposed to staying stuck in place and being frustrated and not going forward and just complaining and being irritated. why don't you just put one foot in front of the other if you can and see where it leads you? That's what we all do. That's what everybody does, to try to not only get ahead, but to savor all those moments of life that really matter. Hey, gang, if you enjoyed this episode and all the episodes you enjoy of JMS, the Jim Masters Show, give this episode a big, big, hearty thumbs up like. Click that thumbs up like button on our YouTube channel in this episode. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss any of our episodes. You get a notification from us, alert about all the episodes, all the great guests as well. And don't forget to leave a comment for us. Interact with us. We really invite and welcome you to leave comments in the comments section on our YouTube channel, which is underneath the actual episodes. So when you watch the episodes, you'll see people's comments. Drop a comment, say hi, let us know where you watch from. Let us know what are some guests that you've enjoyed, who they are, and what you enjoy about this show. If this is your first time here, we welcome you to the Jim Masters Show. And a quick reminder, we have hundreds and hundreds of episodes stored up and archived on the YouTube channel, and you can peruse them. You can binge watch all of them. You'll be surprised, if you are new to our show, of some of the incredible people who have stopped by the Jim Masters Show series. It has been and continues to be epic. Thanks for being with us, everybody. We really appreciate you guys being with us. Come see us again, and thank you again for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and everything else. We love you very much, and we appreciate you, and we hope you'll stop by and see us again. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Thanks for joining us. Be well, take care, and join us again on the Jim Masters Show. I'll be right here waiting for you. Come see us again. Cheers.